Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Namaste. And I hope you're having a beautiful Shabbat so far. We are soul centered. My name is Ariela Halevi, and we just want to welcome you to a place, a center online, virtually right now, where you can come and center your soul. A place that specifically focuses on loss, meaning, and healing, and a center where you can be yourself fully, where you are free to feel and experience life in exactly the way that you are experiencing it in every moment. We are going to start today with this intention as we come into Shabbat, with this idea of strength and boundaries. So that's really our intention, our kavanah this morning. We're going to go a little bit more into that and what that means as we flow through our service, but just kind of coming into our intention this morning of strength and boundaries. In Hebrew, it means Gevurah, and just seeing where we fly.
Yeah, so welcome. I'm always the IT guy, even though I'm not really qualified to be the IT guy. It is a really honor and privilege to be able to connect with you in this capacity. This is for anybody, for Jewish, not Jewish, it doesn't matter. Everything we do is grounded in Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, but that really is just a starting point. It's the roots of our tree that we really build on the soul experience. Welcome to Susan, and welcome to Shelley. We're so delighted that you both have joined us. And so the roots are grounded in Kabbalah, but the branches, right, go up to heaven. And any way we get there, we get there. We really believe in best spiritual practice. So we're going to get started. And just the theme, as Ariela kind of talked about, but continuing on, is a journey. Passover or Easter for Christians is an opening. It's a rebirth. It's spring. It's a beginning point. It's not an end point. And then from the Kabbalistic Jewish perspective, you move from Passover to Shavuot, or my Christian friends call Pentecost. And it's 7 weeks of 7 days. That's 49. That's a transformative number, creation times creation. And so we go through this process over 7 weeks to not only go from slavery to liberation, but liberation to freedom. And that's the journey we're going to take right now.
So we'll start with one word. You can find your soul sheet with songs on it in the notes, correct, on Facebook?
Yeah, I just put it into both our group and our page, and so you can just download it. It's called the Soul Sheet.
Right. So we'll start with one word, shalom, and just this intention again, this kavanah of creating. We're going to go into this during our meditation today, but we're going to talk a lot about boundaries and what that means. And boundaries aren't a bad thing. And so right now we're going to create a boundary of shalom, of peace around ourselves, so that we have a separation between what doesn't serve us and what hurts us and what we want to rid ourselves of, and then what we want to bring in. So just imagining a bubble, a light of peace, of shalom. 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 And as we continue, perhaps with our eyes closed or open, we continue with this idea of boundaries, of creating separation between what we want in our lives, what we release, creating with the next song, creating a sanctuary, just like that bubble of shalom, that peace. We create a sanctuary. So sometimes that sanctuary is in our homes, creating sacred space, creating boundaries between the kitchen and the family room, the office and, everything is a little blurred right now, but really carving out, even more so during this time of coronavirus, carving out your space, your sanctuary. And most of all, your sanctuary lives within. So in what sacred space, how can we create our own sacred space within? That means we have to create delineations, lines to open up to our own personal sanctuaries. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Let's try it in Hebrew. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, dai.
So I think we're on right now. We
Ask someone.
can't see ourselves. We're flying blind on our end for some reason. We have no screen. If you're still on, Susan or Shelly or Bro, can you just text us and let us know that you can see it, and we'll just keep going. We'll fly blind and just assume that we're on. So we will keep going for now anyways. How about Modeh?
Okay, so modeh ani, moda ani, if you're female, modeh, if you're masculine, brings up this idea that, every day is a day for renewal. It doesn't matter what kind of day you had yesterday. We had one.
We had a day yesterday.
We had a day yesterday.
I'm grateful that it's over.
Grateful. Although it was my birthday, we're still a little bit grateful it was over. But today is a new day, and as I opened my eyes this morning, I really recited the Moda Ani, and I remembered that today is a new day. Today is a new opportunity, a new breath. Thank you for tuning in and making sure that we're still on.
Takes a village.
Okay, here we go. Modeh Ani. Modeh Ani lefanecha. חי וקיים. מודה אני לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. מודה אני לפניך, רוח חי וקיים. מודה אני לפניך, רוח חי וקיים.
As we continue, the end of that prayer is just two words. So if you don't know Hebrew, you don't need to know Hebrew for any of this. Rabba emunatecha just means abundant faith or affirmation, and really it's just kind of pouring our energy into the end of a blessing. When somebody says a blessing, right, traditionally we say amen, and that's a way to seal it in and kind of put our imprint on it and put energy into it. And from a mystical perspective, it's one of the ways we really open up the channel between us and the divine. And so we just really enter into that with Rabba emunatecha. Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha, 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 emunatecha.
The next, go ahead.
So before we go on, I'm really developing this idea. I was counseling somebody, and they lost their loved one, and they were feeling anger, and they didn't feel like they were supposed to feel anger. Their loved one took their own life, killed themselves. And what we talked about is that they absolutely adored their loved one. She adored her mother, and she's talking about love. And then we were talking about it's not love. Like love is, nice, but what she was feeling was outrageous love. Like outrageous love, this deep, profound place of love for her mom. And then we talked about, but energy has to have an equal, a yin and a yang. You must always have a counterbalance. And so when you're hurt, when you felt betrayed like she did, the opposite would be outrageous anger. And that's okay to feel. And then we talked about, how do you get back to this place of outrageous love, going to outrageous anger? And we talked about outrageous faith. And outrageous faith is the pathway back. It's not faith as in I believe, isn't that nice? I believe, that tomorrow will be better. It's I believe with every ounce of my being that I can get back to that place of outrageous love for my mother, for my loved one, for my life. And so really, I've now been shifting my thinking about what we're doing here on Saturday morning is we're cultivating this outrageous faith in a time of outrageous uncertainty. And so we continue down that path with what Ariela was ever going to lead us down.
Okay, so we're going to continue with Elohai, and I think it goes along with what you're saying. Elohai is, dear God, the soul that you placed in me is pure. So it doesn't mean, purity doesn't mean sweet and nice. To me, Elohai Neshama is bringing your whole self to wherever you are in every moment. And that is using your body and your mind and your soul and your spirit and your emotions, and bringing it all to the table, because that's what God wants from us.
Yeah. And Viktor Frankl talks about that our bodies and our minds are part of who we are. They're not who we are. Our soul is who we are. And in order to heal, you must go back to that place, because it resists becoming tainted, right? It's this powerful cleansing agent, our soul, that cannot be touched by this world and this stuff. And that's always within us for us to tap into. And that's purity. It's not clean. It's untouchable.
Right. But the path to the soul, as I've led many clients this week, because of the struggle of this virus, it's hard to find that purity. It's hard to get through the junk that we're going through, let alone the junk inside that we already have, the stress and fear outside of us you can feel. So the path to that soul is through your emotions and your body, because that is what is real for us on earth. That's why we're here. So I love this path, because I invite you, as we finally get into this song, to check into where your body is. I don't know where to look. Okay. Everything's blank. To check into where your body is. Where is your body today? Is it tight? Is it screaming? Is it beautiful? It's all beautiful, but is it open and free? Where are you today? That is your path to your soul. Okay, now we're going to get on with it.
Wait, one more. Just kidding.
Okay, here we go. It's a new tune. We did it last week, so join me if you know it.
And hey, Pamela, Carol, Susan, Shelley, everybody, we're really delighted you've joined us.
We are. Come settle your soul with us. Hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, 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 ya. Hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, 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 ya. Eo Elohai. Eo Elohai. Neshama Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Eo Elohai. Eo Elohai. Neshama Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi Tehorai. Hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, 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 ya. Hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya. Hey, hey, ya.
So we have very different skill sets. She sings. I'm more loyal than she is, honestly. I have one note and I just stick with it. So I'm very loyal to my note. I'm more of a chanter. I really enjoy chanting. She enjoys singing and chanting. But I'm going to do the same version now, the same song in a different version, my version. So we'll do his and hers, and maybe you'll resonate with one more than the other. Hi, Daria. Such a nice way to have you start your day with us as well. It goes like this. And you can even, that's why I like chanting, you can just get rid of the words. Ya, 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 na, 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 oh, ya, ya. Here we go. Elohai nishama shenatata bi Tehorai. Elohai nishama shenatata bi Tehorai. Elohai, Shinatatavi Tatabi Tehorahi Elohai Nishama Shinatatavi Tatabi
Tehorahi Elohai Nishama Shinatatabi Ashrei. Ashrei. So
it's on your sheets. You can get your sheets on the Facebook column on the side there.
So Ashrei is an invitation to come into an inner joy. As we've said before, it's not an outside happiness. It's a cultivation of joy. No matter what is going on outside of us, can we cultivate that joy? And it comes really back. I mean, it's amazing that it comes back to that path that we were just talking about, the path to the soul, the path to centering your soul is the same thing as finding your inner joy. It's all soul. But the path to get there is to dive through the muck, is to dive through the part of being human. We can't really escape being human. If you've heard the term spiritual bypassing, that's often a way to just jump to spirit. And so the invitation with Ashrei is to go walk down the path to spirit, to joy. Take a deep breath in and center yourself and close your eyes first. And feel the divine joy and inner spirit that is naturally there inside of you, waiting to be open and felt and expressed. Ashrei Yoshvei Betecha Oria Hallelujah Oria Hallelujah 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 Ashrei Yoshvei Betecha Oria Hallelujah Oria Hallelujah.
Just a thought about that. This is a poem by Tagore, famous poem. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefield, but to my own strength. Let me not crave an anxious fear to be saved, but hope for the patience to win my freedom. Grant me that I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone, but let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure. And it just reminded me of that because Ashrei is just kind of letting go of control. We don't control those external circumstances, and asking God not to control the external circumstances out in the world or out in our life, but to give us the power to control our internal circumstances, because in the end, that's all that we have power over. And so Olam Chesed is about building a world out in the world through our energy and our efforts, but it begins with us getting centered and finding ourselves so that there's a self to go out into the world to be in relationship with others.
Olam Chesed Ibanei Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai 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 I will build this world from love. Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai And you must build this world from love. Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai And if we build this world from love, Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai Then God will build this world from love. Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai Olam Chesed Ibanei Yadadai Yadai Yadadai Dai Olam Chesed Ibanei Yadadai Dai Dai Yadadai Dai And so we just easily transition, perhaps with your eyes closed, into a prayer, a song, an asking, an opening, Nishmat Kol Chai, that every living soul shall sing the song and the prayer and the words of their highest truth, of the divine, of God, of whatever you call your highest truth, that your soul may sing it on this earth. And so just opening your heart, opening your body, opening your spirit to Nishmat Kol Chai. Yadadai Dai 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 Yadadai Dai 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 Yadadai Dai 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 Yadai Yadadai Dai 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 Yadadai Dai Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai. Yai nai 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 nai, yai dai dai yai dai dai, yai nai 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 nai, yai dai dai dai. Nishmat Kol Chai. Tivarech et Shimcha Hashem Hashem Eloheinu Nishmat Kol Chai Tivarech et Shimcha Hashem Eloheinu Yedidai dai dai yai nai nai yai nai nai yai nai nai yai dai dai yai nai 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 yai nai nai yai dai dai yai nai nai yai nai nai yai nai nai yai dai dai yai nai 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 yai dai dai dai.
This is called Unbroken by Roshani. There is a brokenness out of which comes the unbroken, a shatteredness out of which blooms the unshatterable. There is a sorrow beyond all grief which leads to joy, and a fragility out of whose depths emerges strength. There is a hollow space too vast for words, through which we pass with each loss, out of whose darkness we are sanctioned into being. There is a cry deeper than all sound, whose serrated edges cut the heart as we break open to the place inside of us which is unbreakable and whole while learning to sing. And so we take this idea of unbrokenness, unshatterable, and Oziv Zimrat Yah on your handouts. You can get your handouts on the Facebook page or group. I uploaded it this morning. But you can also just kind of tap into this place of unbreakable, and it comes, Ozi, my strength, comes from singing and song that is given to me by the source.
Ozi Vezimrat Yah Vayehi li Lishua 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 Ozi Vezimrat Yah Vayehi li Lishua. So we head into the next part of our service, and it's really this idea of listening, of opening to ourselves and our hearts, and also opening to our communities. And so we may not be close to those that we love, that we can touch, but that our hearts are wide open to our community, to this idea of listening to one another, even the ones that you can touch, opening to listening to each other, and the Shema, and just feeling your hearts open to each other, ourselves, and asking yourselves this question as we open to each other: am I awake?
And we're listening. We're not seeing you because our screen is black, but we do know it's working because you are chiming in. So
Right.
welcome to Heather and Amy and John and Marla and my mother.
Yeah.
And we're listening. So type. We can't hear you, but we can see what you're typing. So please share with us thoughts as we go along this journey together.
And I don't know why this is coming up, but just one word. If you are close to each other, as I said, if sometimes being far away from each other is easier, and this idea of community is it starts in your home. And so if you are listening to each other, you're in communication and dialogue, and sometimes that gets messy. If you have children at home and if you have partners at home. And so just taking this moment and setting a kavanah, an intention as we head into this next part of our service to just be okay with where you are and to listen to each other. And when you miss the mark, just acknowledge that you missed the mark and say that it's okay. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayers? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yananai, 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 yananai.
This is a prayer from the Sioux Indians. Grandfather, Great Spirit, all over the world the faces of living ones are alike. With tenderness they have come up out of the ground. Look upon your children that they may face the winds and walk the good road to the day of quiet. Grandfather, Great Spirit, fill us with light. Give us strength to understand and the eyes to see and the ears to listen. Teach us to walk the soft earth as relatives to all that live. And so we take this from our Native American brothers and sisters into the Shema. Same thing. I'm not even going to translate it because that basically is what the Shema means. It's just listening. And so we listen one breath per word, or you can just take this time to just listen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. But we'll just listen for a few minutes in lieu of our Amidah, the standing prayer. You can stand, you can pray, you can sit, you can be quiet. It's all a pathway to get to this place of just kind of a knowing, of a connection, of an intuition. And so we tap into intuition just over the next couple of minutes, just kind of quietly, but together. And there's power in sitting quietly in community. Welcome, Jody. Shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Ve'imru, imru.
It's just a chant about shalom, peace.
Yaseh
Please make peace.
shalom, Yaseh shalom.
Upon all of us.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom,
Bring peace now.
Yaseh shalom.
Into our homes.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol
Yisrael. Into our
Yisrael.
hearts.
Yaseh
To
shalom,
our families.
Yaseh
Our
shalom.
communities.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh
Between
shalom,
religions.
Yaseh
Between
shalom.
countries.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
All we ask is that you bring peace soon. So we're going to just have a conversation about our theme, which we'll get into in a second, but I always like to do a chant to awaken that dormant sleeping peace that's in all of us every morning and every day, and we have to wake it up. I talked before about outrageous faith, right? Just kind of shattering the complacency. It doesn't just happen, and so we kind of go into this chant as a way to remind ourselves to awaken. Amen. Yeah, no, that's not how it goes.
Are you doing our Father Earth, Mother Sky?
Amen.
Ya na 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 ya
Na
na
na na ya na na, ya la la, amen, amen, amen. Ya na 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 na, ya la la, ya la la, amen. One word. Ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, amen, amen. Ya la la. La la, amen, amen, amen. La 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 la, yeah, 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 la la, amen, amen, amen. La 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 la,
ya na na
amen, amen, amen. Hey, la la, la la. Amen, amen.
ya na na ya na na amen, amen.
So we're going to just take a little bit of time to have a conversation. You'll join us by chatting with us, adding your comments in. Every week we read from the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, but we break from tradition here at Soul Centered. We're interested in the spirit of the tradition, not necessarily the tradition. If it gets us there, great, but otherwise the principle, the concept is important. And so we're going to jump from the Torah into the calendar. This past week we finished the beginning of the journey, but Passover is only the beginning and Easter is the beginning. These are openings, invitations, and the Hebrew word for invitation, zman, is the same word for time. And so time is an invitation to us. The calendar is an invitation, especially the Hebrew calendar, because it's built not around necessarily just the external physical experience, but the internal experience. And so we go from slavery and awakening and coming out of it to liberation, but liberation isn't freedom. And so then we start this process of what does it take to become free, right? So the kind of old saying, you can take the person out of Egypt, but you can't necessarily take the Egypt out of the person. And that's what happened to the Israelites, is that Moses took them out of Egypt, but it took time to take Egypt out of them. And so this idea that we need time and we need process and we need effort and all that comes together, if you're doing all that, that it unfolds into freedom. And so that's what we're moving towards on the calendar, from Passover to Shavuot, or my friends who Christian call it Pentecost. And so that's 49 days after the journey begins, from Passover to Shavuot. And it's 7 times 7. And Kabbalistically, that's a powerful number. It's creation times creation. And so 49 days of this creative process. And Ariela has been guiding us, guiding you in this process of each week having a different theme. And these aren't her themes. This is the Kabbalah and the 7 core emanations of God in this world, 7 kind of key attributes or building blocks. And every week for 7 weeks, we go through one of these attributes. So last week was Chesed, and Ariela did yoga specifically around it, but we've been weaving our themes around it. Chesed is loving kindness. It's an outpouring. It's a going out. It's to other. And that's a starting point. That's creation, God bringing love into this world, forming us. 2 people coming together to form a child, right? It's going out. But then, once the sperm and the egg have united, once that creative block, that creative process has been initiated, then you go into the womb, right? And the womb, the feminine, is what happens to that fertilized egg. It goes into the womb and is nurtured. That's called Gevurah. And it's just interesting to think about. You need both of these. It's yin and it's yang. Right. It's outward and it's inward. It's giving and it's receiving. And so we're on today, and this week we're talking about Gevurah, which again is drawing boundaries, its borders, its limits. It's the womb to nurture that which has been put forth by Chesed.
Right, and I like to think of Gevurah, or like this idea of creating boundaries. I start big and then I go. If we start big, we think about God and we think about the world and infinite light. When God created the world, God created infinite light. So much light that it's like ultimate chesed, right? It's just this outpouring of light. So there's an idea in Kabbalah called Tzimtzum. And if we were to experience complete and total light being human beings on this earth, the idea of Kabbalah says that we would explode. It would be so overwhelming we couldn't function in this world. So the idea of Tzimtzum is that God created darkness, that God created this idea of boundaries so that we knew what light was by experiencing our lessons on this earth as human beings. When we pass on, we are that light. We experience that light. But when we are earthly beings, we have to experience for ourselves as human beings, what is the difference between dark and light? How do you know light? Because you also have seen growth and dark and lessons of just being human. It's a school.
It's the most powerful teaching I know of, so I'm just going to kind of unpack it a little bit. Because people want to know, right, if God created everything, how is there good? How is there evil? How is there failure? How is there pain? How is there suffering? And the Kabbalists teach on what Ariel is talking about, that it's all infinite light. The primary name for God, or a primary name for God in Kabbalah is Or Le'en Sof, which means unending light. I think it's isn't that a better name for God than God? Like G-O-D? Like unending light is descriptive. It's not a title. It's a description. So God is, by definition, unending light, unabounding light, outrageous light. And like Ariela said, it's just too much.
Right.
And so the analogy is, so God withdraws God herself, because it's a feminine act to pull back, to make room for other. Gevurah is a feminine act, to create a womb, a space, a place. And I use the analogy of a playground, right? So if it's all teachers or parents out on the playground, sorry, all kinds of technical stuff today, then there's no room for kids to go out and play and be free. And it's all rules and enforcing rules and whatever. So you withdraw. A parent letting the kids play in the backyard.
Right.
And you're now, as a parent, you're looking out the window at your kids. And you see them, they're about to hurt themselves, but it's not major hurt. And it takes restraint, right, not to run out there and smother them with your light.
Right.
But you know, as a parent, that skin knees, right? What's her name?
The Blessing of
Skin Knees. I forgot.
I see.
It's a great book, Blessing of Skin Knees.
It's a great
book.
But
there's a blessing in that skin knee, and it's not something I want for them, but I do want for them, A, to have the ability to choose,
right,
and B, to have consequences to their choices,
right,
even if they're painful consequences. So God withdraws herself as an act of love, and that boundary creation, that boundary setting is as loving as rushing to fill the playground with our presence.
Right. And I think if we take it so we took it out and talked about God and the world and light and dark. And then if we bring it into our day-to-day world, our personal lives, this idea of Tzimtzum is personally is about creating the boundaries of self-love. So how do you create boundaries of self-love? Similar to what B said, is that if you keep rushing in to save your child, especially as they grow and they become teenagers, that is it's a huge pulling back and then figuring out when to step forward. When in our own personal lives, self-love is ultimately creating boundaries. Brene Brown talks a lot about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. So this idea of boundaries, I think Steve Jobs also said, like, a successful person says no more than she says yes. And the idea of self-love and boundaries is to figure out what works inside of us, use our voice to set up those boundaries, and then follow through with them. And it really depends. It's very psychological, it's very emotional. And I feel like we started big, and that's the lesson of the divine. And then the divine says, now create all these relationships. And through all these relationships, you're going to be introduced to people who cross over your boundaries, and people who you want more from, and people you want less from. And it's just a dance. And for those of us that have grown up without proper boundaries, that, their parents swooped in too much or their parents didn't swoop in enough, it is a struggle to create those boundaries. And it's ultimately, Gevurah is about self-love. It's about self-care.
And we also live in a society that is uncomfortable with this side of the equation, right? You can never we've talked about it a lot, but you can never give too much, from a outward perception. Oh, they give so much. They give everything. They're so selfless. And half my counseling is undoing that damaging belief. Selflessness is the most horrible thing you can ever be in this lifetime, because it means you have no self. It means you're not in a relationship. Some version of you's in a relationship, but it's not you. Self-centering and soul-centering, being at the center, holding that as an act of love for another is a gift, right? When you don't allow people to come across your boundaries, or when you don't go across your boundaries and you hold that center, that is the ultimate act of love. And it is a battle, because the world around us tells us we should leave that, go out of our boundaries at certain times. And it takes great restraint, right, to say no.
Right. It is ultimately the tzimtzum, what we were talking about in our relationship. It's finding that center and then realizing you stepped over, and then pulling back. And it's a dance, really. I mean, boundaries are a dance. And for those, I know also Brene Brown talks about this idea that when you don't stand for yourself and become self-centered and soul-centered and stand for your boundaries, you end up resentful and angry. And ultimately, you have to go fix them anyway, because there will still be opportunities for you to fix your boundaries.
But also the irony is that the only way you can have connection with another is if you have boundaries. I mean, you were talking yesterday about one of our kids keeps pulling, because it's complicated in this quarantine time and boundaries, and he just wants more and more and more and more. And, when we get pulled over those boundaries, we feel less and less and less connected.
Right.
The act of connection requires that boundary. And, we think of connection as, oh, there's no boundaries, like this.
Right.
But it's the opposite. It's having a sense of self. It's having a sense of boundary. And that's how we create connection. That's what a marriage is. Right? Kiddushin, holiness, or marriage, it's the same word in Hebrew, is saying, I choose you, right? And we create a boundary around us, because the rest of the world has a different relationship to us.
Right.
And you setting that boundary with the rest of the world is creating connection between us.
Right.
And so just starting to think about, especially during these times of very bad boundaries, because we're all forced into these unnatural situations where we're stuck, right, in these confines, and we're I see a lot of grappling with boundaries.
I do too, and I want to take it back to one of our kids, because what I grappled with yesterday was one of our kids wanted so much of me that what I did was I pulled way back, because I've been in the house for a month, and I know that a lot of you are parents, so and I've been reading a lot about this, like how to create those, with anybody in your home, but how to create those boundaries, especially with children. So what I did is that as he pulled forward, I ran away, literally. And also with my energy, I pulled far, far away. And it made him want even more. And so as I went to bed last night and I was reflecting on the day and how I could have stood my boundaries and felt better, what I've been doing is, and I didn't do yesterday, I have been saying to a couple of the children, today at around 3 o'clock, we're going to spend 3 to 4 o'clock together, or 3 to 3:30 together. You're going to have my undivided attention. So that is a boundary, right? I didn't do that yesterday because I'm a human being and I was tired. But in general, that child would have felt better if I had said, I know you need me. I can't give it to you now, but at 3 o'clock, you are going to have all of me. And then it's up to us to open our boundaries to that child or that person, give what you need, and then say, okay, we're done. And that is the act of, I think, a healthy parent, a healthy relationship, and even a healthy working relationship. We could work until we're exhausted, but do you have the boundaries to shut it off at night, to shut it off at a certain time? Do you have the boundaries to not keep it next to your bed and listen to the pinging? Everything is boundaries.
So I'll end with a poem about boundaries. It's called Your Right for Healthy Boundaries. Forgive me, I don't know the name of the author. These walls weren't built to keep you out. These walls are a reflection of self-love, a shift beyond incessant self-doubt. It is never about the other. Paths crossing can be viewed as a gift. The journey is for becoming, for seeing inner truth and honoring self-worth. When enveloped in light of the most loving kind, worn and weathered paths may no longer intertwine. New opportunities for growth will undoubtedly appear. Fear not the storm before you. Tether to your core when the desire for walls comes near. Remember, personal happiness is yours to create and define. Embrace your healthy boundaries and say yes to love and your right to shine. And so with that, we will enter into boundary breaking. There are times to have boundaries and to have those walls, and then there are other times when it's important to take down those boundaries and walls, and particularly, and there's only a handful of those times, but particularly when somebody is in need of our healing, right? And that's just time to strip down kind of the boundary. You've built up this reservoir of strength and energy, and that's when there are times when you just outpour into their heart, into their soul, into their space, because they need that energy. And so we'll send our love and our prayers out from us into the lives of others through healing.
So I'll invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And know that wherever your loved one is, that if they close their eyes and you close your eyes, there's no boundaries in time and space. That you can connect on a soul level to open your hearts and your prayers to those that you love, that you can't be with right now, those that are needing our prayers of healing, and maybe yourself. Maybe you're needing healing, and just opening yourself to these beautiful angels in Kabbalah. There's beautiful angels here present for us, always here, just waiting to be asked to figure out what we need and help us with our prayers and help us with our lives. And so if you'd like to, you can call upon these angels, Michael, Gavriel, Uriel, and especially Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing. And so we just ask and call upon Archangel Raphael to place a blanket of divine white light around our world, to heal us, to heal our earth, to heal the ones that are sick with coronavirus and beyond, and to place a beautiful blanket of white light around our loved ones in need of healing and beyond. And open your hands if you'd like, and just open to this divine healing, opening your heart and your soul. If you'd like to put a name of somebody that you're asking prayers for in the chat, you can do that now. So this is a a song called Brokenhearted by Shir Yaakov. Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of their wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know where they are. Healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know who we are. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Ana, Ana, Refana, la. Ana, Ana, Refana, la.
Send all of our love out and prayers out to everybody you're thinking of, and Susan, shared Jared, and all of those struggling with depression in this time of isolation. Absolutely. To all of them, we send our love and our light. We also pray for the souls of those who have departed recently or at any point. It's an opportunity we did this week called Yizkor. We have a memorial service. You can watch it online. It's kind of contemplative and accessible to anybody. So if you want more of an in-depth experience, we did for about an hour. But right now we just do a relatively brief but important reminder of those who came before us, to remember them and to send our love and our prayers out to them and to you if you're grieving the loss of a loved one.
Yikara ve'yikadash Shemei Rabba, Yehei Shemei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'olmei amaya. Yikara ve'yikadash Shemei Rabba, Yehei Shemei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'olmei amaya. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. Shalom, 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 shalom.
So thank you for tuning in and for sticking with us. Maybe we'll just take a few moments and share any announcements that we have going on here at Soul Center.
Sure.
Like the old days.
I know. So the announcement would be that you can join us every Shabbat, every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, for the Soul Shabbat Experience, where we do what we do. And Soul Centers is really a center.
Yoga afterwards.
Oh, yes. And we're going to stop the video soon, and then you can rejoin me if you're interested in doing yoga in any form to move your body in a few minutes after I stop the video today. and we will be exploring Gevurah in our bodies. So otherwise, we are really a center for loss, meaning, and healing. And so every Monday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I'll be offering a healing experience. You are welcome to join in, and I love your comments and your chats. And really, this is an experience of healing. So it comes in different forms. I offer yoga, but I also offer meditation, healing visualizations to elicit your emotions. Remember that pathway that I talked about? The way to spirit and soul is to go into the body and experience your emotions and what is being stored there. And so I offer these healing guided visualizations to elicit your emotional responses. I also offer guided intuitive readings and different talks on the body, healing, and the soul and spirit, and how to cultivate your own practice with that.
And I am focused right now on Wednesday nights, the meaning experience. Originally started it as kind of a logotherapy, Dr. Viktor Frankl's psychotherapy pathway. It's meaning centered, and I believe deeply in it. I also integrate it with Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Now I'm kind of shifting it to ancient wisdom texts and finding meaning in them. And it's a new program I'm putting together called Outrageous Faith. I talked about it before, but I think for me it's very powerful. I love looking at ancient wisdom texts, especially the Torah, and from a place of outrage, right? Because if you look at the patriarchs and matriarchs, these are folks who were real, and they struggled with faith and doubt and despair and anger, and they were great because not because they didn't have those things. They did have those things. They learned how to harness them. They failed, and they picked themselves up over and over and over again. And so going to be exploring a lot around that one. Again, what I'm calling Outrageous Faith, Wednesday night, the meaning experience. I'm also doing small groups around that for asking people if you're interested to put together a small group of your cohorts, wherever you are or however you want to do it. Reach out to me, shoot me an email, rabbi@rabbib.com, or go to mysoulcenter.org, and we can put together a small group around outrageous faith and studying wisdom text traditions, and then of course working with individuals one-on-one, both through the kind of pathway of grief, but also the pathway of meaning and soul, and either one of those get us to the same place, which is to center our soul, to live soul-centered lives, and that's what we do together.
And again, like B said, if you're interested, first of all, stay tuned. I forgot to say that I will be offering a group called How to Connect to Your Divine Body Wisdom. And so before that, you'll see different webinars that you're invited to attend. And we center our souls by offering these groups and one-on-ones. So if you would like to email us and contact us, we're always offering 30-minute complimentary sessions to discover how we would work together and how to support you, especially in this time of need. We are here for you.
So with that, love is all there is. That's what this is about. That's everything we are doing. That's what it's about, and that's what you're about. So join us. Love is all there is.
Yai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Love, love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love, love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Yai, 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 dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai.
it's actually not true. Love is not all there is. Yoga is now coming up. So tune in for Ariela for yoga, the yoga experience. And with that, we'll see you soon.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, salam.
Namaste.